All right, welcome everybody to the Massachusetts college basketball deal here. And obviously it's a little bit different than we've had it in the past, but we want to continue to do this virtually. And we've got all the coaches here on board from all the schools in Massachusetts, all the Division I schools. And again, this is obviously something that we've done for a long time to try to raise money, something that has gotten everybody together, in the college basketball community. And we obviously thank the coaches for being involved in this every single year and taking their time to do so. Why we're doing this, this is obviously something that I've been passionate about for years. I think everybody involved has been passionate about. And Coaches vs. Cancer obviously has a long history with the American Cancer Society. It's a program, a collaboration between the American Cancer Society and the NABC, which is the National Association of Basketball Coaches. The program empowers basketball and other athletic coaches to save lives from cancer by leveraging their community leadership to raise awareness and funds for the American Cancer Society. For more than 25 years, the Coaches vs. Cancer program has united coaches and fans nationwide to help the American Cancer Society defeat a common enemy, and that is cancer. Remember, for more information and to join coaches in the fight against cancer, visit coachesversuscancer.org. You can do that tonight, and obviously we'd appreciate it if you could do that, and we could raise some money. We know it's not as easy in the current climate with everything that's gone on, and certainly not being in person makes it a little bit more difficult. But again, we still need to raise money to defeat cancer. The American Cancer Society has never faced something like COVID before. The pandemic has severely impeded the society's annual fundraising activity, creating a significant financial hardship and forcing several cost-saving measures. As a result of the financial strain, the society's hallmark research funding is currently in jeopardy. Any delay in cancer research is a huge concern because we're so close to so many breakthroughs. In just a few years, we might be able to achieve perfected immunotherapy treatment for all cancers, liquid biopsies for widespread screening, and gain a significantly better understanding of cancer metastasis. We cannot stop this momentum. COVID is affecting cancer patients' ability to get care. Half of cancer patients and survivors reported some impact to their health care due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 27% of patients who are currently in active treatment reported delay to their treatment, and 13% more of those in active treatment have had care delayed without knowledge of when it'll be rescheduled. A third of cancer patients and survivors are worried about the impact of COVID-19 on their ability to get treatment for their cancer, a concern that is particularly acute for those currently in active treatment. So anyway, again, please donate if you can. Again, we know it's not easy with everything going on, but coachesversuscancer.org. Please go there. And again, we'll start our annual coaches roundtable here with our 8 coaches that are all, I think we got 8. No, do we have more than 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 coaches, with the addition of Merrimack's Joe Gallo this year. Joe, thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And we got everybody here. Joe Jones. There we go. Last but not least. Thanks for joining us, guys. Obviously, I know it's not easy for you guys and everything you're doing. I've talked to some of you and talked to so many coaches over the last few months, and trying to get this thing ramped up. We're 2 weeks away tomorrow from the start of college basketball season, which seems crazy to me. I was talking to somebody today that it almost feels like surreal in a way. Just want to get here. And it felt real today when I looked at Jim Christian's non-conference schedule. That's when it felt real, Jimmy. Like, can I read this non-conference schedule? Like, this is insanity. You got to unmute yourself, Jim.
Yeah, we're missing a game as well.
Oh my God. I mean,
that's one tomorrow.
November 25th, Villanova, the number one team, I think, in the country, or maybe they're three, whatever it is. They're 1, 2, and 3 are all the same. And then you could get Baylor the next day, which I've got at number 1 in the Mohegan Sun. Then you got St. John's, URI at Minnesota, Syracuse, Cal at NC State, Louisville. Yeah, I think I see you sweating right now with that schedule. That is unbelievable. But I don't even want to get on the schedule right now. Let's talk about just what it is like right now to wake up every day and go in and try to think about coaching your team, but you have so many other things that you've got to worry about, right? You got to worry about everybody getting negative tests to be able to move forward, and what you're going to do in practice and how you're going to change practice to try to make sure that everybody is safe and able to practice the next day. What's it been like, Jim?
Well, I think it started for us, but we didn't have anybody here in the summer. So in reality, like when we first got back here, to watch them just play basketball after 6 months, to see how happy they were just to do something which would resemble any form of normalcy, was worth it. I mean, for us, it's just, I think if you spend so much time worrying about everything, obviously you try to be as careful and safe as you can. But at the end of the day, like, these kids mentally have gone through so much. The fact that they can just have fun every day has got to be, for me, it's priority one. So like you even ask about the schedule, that's priority one. We have no family or friends that can come see these guys play. So if we get a chance to play on national TV, let's play. And I just think that's what this year's about. I think every year should be about that, but never more so than now.
Tommy, Amaker at Harvard, your situation's even more murky, I guess, would be the right way to describe it. You're not playing non-conference. We don't know, and I don't know if you know, if you're going to play at all this year. There's been no Ivy League schedule that's come out. There have been some people who have said that Harvard may not play basketball this year. I guess I'm not asking for breaking news here on whether you're going to play or not. I'm more asking how you keep your kids optimistic, motivated. That's got to be the hardest part. You're a grown man, like, you can deal with a lot of this, but you're dealing with kids here that don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Jeff. But first of all, just would like to say how I know, speaking probably for all of us, how honored we are to always be a part of this Coaches versus Cancer event and panel and roundtable, as you said. And thank you for always lending your expertise and hand in it as well, and to the Boston Globe and all of us who have participated in trying to, as you mentioned earlier, bring about some or more awareness and resources that we can fight this dreaded disease. And as us basketball coaches, we're limited, I would imagine, things that we personally can do in some ways, but this is one thing we can do. And I think for all of us, we're honored to always participate. So, but to your question, we don't know. There has been no direction as of yet. We were told earlier about the fall being, postponed, canceled in all fall sports. And so we've had very limited kids even on campus. All of the classes at Harvard have been all virtual. So we've only had three basketball players actually on campus this whole first semester. And we were able to we've been in phases. So we were able to move into the next phase, which is allow us to have some activity on the court. But it's been limited, and we understand. I think all of us, are taking everything in stride and trying to make the best of it as we can. The thing that we've tried to do with our team is to, we met with them virtually through Zooms as we're doing now. We've just been always trying to be grateful, staying positive, but also trying to stay very healthy, and then trying to find small wins, whatever that may be. If, even if one of our players has a new hairstyle, we kind of decide if we think if it's a good one or not. But just having some fun with them and knowing that, school is the most important thing in health, and we'll find our way through it one way or the other. That's what we're saying. It's going to find its way at some point. And hopefully, Jeff, as we think of this, for all the things that we're going through with this pandemic, there will be some things on the other side of it that will be a lot better, in our society, not just basketball.
Joe Jones, BU, take me through a normal day now. When you wake up and you start to think of your day and plan it out, it was fairly simple before. I don't want to trivialize it, but you were worried about practice that day, getting better. Take me through kind of your mindset now.
So, I mean, probably like everybody here, everybody's probably in a different place. We've been fortunate that we've been able to do a lot of testing. So we've only had one setback where we've had, we couldn't do anything on the floor. So we've been going really since September 8th or so. And so the big thing is for me, like Tommy, like Jim, is I just want our guys to have a great experience when they do get a chance to get to practice, because they're going through so much, and so much is different for them, and there's so many things that are unknown, that we're really trying to make the experience fun for them, and enjoyable. A lot of these guys are kind of coming in off being in their room all day, and so anytime they can get into the gym, it's great, and it's kind of great for us to kind of get together. So we really feel fortunate that we can kind of be together. So that's where my mind works. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I have to do myself is kind of check through our portal, make sure I'm going through all the symptoms and signs and everything, and hopefully I can get my green pass, which kind of allows me to go to campus. I'm only allowed to be on campus 2 hours prior to a workout and then 2 hours after a workout. And so a lot of times I find myself being home, where it's kind of hard to get things done between my two kids that are teenage kids that are going through school virtually. And they're teenagers, so they're acting like teenagers and like they do. So in between trying to keep their head straight, doing the laundry, kind of working on the workout for the day, is kind of how I go. I try to work out and get that in, and then I go in. We meet with my staff. We can't meet with them, in my office, so we have to meet virtually, and it's kind of hard to kind of explain drills virtually, and that's been a little difficult. And then we kind of can go onto the floor once the floor is open for us to go on and get some things done as a staff. And then we have to make sure we check the badges as our guys are coming in. And then we have two separate groups that work out on one side. So there's 8 guys on one side and 10 on the other. We have 4 walk-ons that make it. Thank God we have these walk-ons, so we can actually play some 4-on-4. So one group is playing a lot of 4-on-4. The other group is playing 5-on-5. And then when guys are injured, I throw Coach Quinn, our young assistant, in there. And so that's kind of how it's been working. And then we've tried to just break up our workouts. It's like, one day we're going to have a normal practice. The next day we're going to do individuals. Another day we're going to do all, like Saturdays are kind of our competition day, where we just play 4-on-4, 3-on-3, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, just to break up the week and the monotony of what we're doing. So, in between that, we're checking classes and making sure these guys are doing their work,
It's a lot more to worry about this year, no doubt about it. Northeastern coach Bill Cohen. I feel like the protocols are all a little bit different, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think every league, one of the issues I've got is that the NCAA hasn't come down with a mandate to try to make things consistent, universal. So everybody's, and maybe it's hard because everybody's in a different state. Every school's a little bit different. What's your protocol right now? I guess if somebody tests positive, is it automatic 14 days shutdown? And then after, Bill, you kind of describe your situation, your scenario, I'd like to know, like the rest of you, is it the same? And I don't know if you can, put up your hands there if it is, but go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, well, first, thanks, Jeff, for doing this. And as echo Tommy's remarks, it's for a really special cause, and it's great to see all the coaches, even if it's virtual. We always have a great time on this night, and it's great to be with everybody. Our protocols, I think it's like with everything else in 2020, they seem to change all the time. But Northeastern has made a tremendous investment. We built our own lab. Everybody on our campus is getting tested 3 times a week. So although we moved very, very slowly, we weren't here over the summer, very limited gatherings all through September. when October kind of kicked around, we got into, phase one, getting together. We've heard different things. As long as we stay in the cadence of every 3 days getting tested, and there's a lot of science behind that, where they can kind of identify somebody before they get symptomatic and they are infectious, that they can kind of quarantine those people. So the system has seemed to work. In terms of the CAA and all the different conferences, I think you just got to look at nationally what we're doing. We don't have a national mandate how to handle this. We don't, there's so many different things that this issue is so complex. And I think the NCAA has just tried to take give a little bit of leeway to the conferences to try to get it done any way you can in order to salvage the system. And nobody wants to, beyond the backdrop, everybody wants to keep everybody healthy and health and safety first. But if there is a way that give people ways to kind of work through it. But we're still going through all those protocols on a conference level. What would happen if? How many games do you need to qualify for a CAA tournament? What I think that shifts day to day. But our hope is that everybody and everybody's teams, we're all trying to do the right thing. No one, I think, if 2020 has taught us anything, has shifted our paradigm and our protocols and make sure we have our priorities straight. But we'd all like to see everybody play basketball, but not at the expense of anybody's safety.
UMass Lowell coach Pat Duquette. Pat, I can't remember off the top of my head the America East. I think right back-to-back games at one site. Correct or no?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, correct. Like a lot of the other conferences, we're going to play back-to-back games, and you'll play half the league opponents on the road, Jeff, and then you'll play half home. So I think Bill the Colonial's doing it the same way. So it's going to be a little bit of an imbalanced schedule.
I love it. Where do you stand with it? Do you like it? I mean, I just feel like it gives everybody I think everybody should do it. And I know it's not equitable, but I don't think it matters whether it's equitable. I think we just got to get games this year. Are you?
Yeah, I think the most equitable you can make it while, minimizing the risk and the travel and prioritizing the health and safety of the student athletes. I do like the model, and I think our conference office has done a real good job exploring every model. But to me, coming up with the one that makes the most sense, given the current conditions now, which we all know can change as well.
Have any of you had a shutdown yet? I mean, I know Tommy hasn't. Brett, you guys haven't been able to. Have you been able to? I know you're not playing conference games either. You start January 2nd. Are you able to do everything right now and everything's, everything that everybody else can, even though you're not playing any non-conference games?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going for about 11 weeks, Jeff. So, our guys have done a good job. Like Joe, we got word from the Patriot League for sure, probably a week to 10 days ago that we aren't starting until January 2nd. So definitely not playing non-league games. So we're in a little bit different boat than some of these other guys. But, we've been going about 11 weeks and, happy with where we're at.
UMass coach Matt McCall, what's recruiting been like? Give me your Zoom. How many over under on the amount of Zoom calls that you've done recruiting wise?
Well, I think for us, one, we're in a little bit of a unique situation in terms of just our roster. And luckily, fortunately, we're not out there having to chase a ton of guys right now because we have a young team and we're going to get the majority of these guys back. Obviously, your seniors are going to have a decision to make on, what do they want next in terms of, do they want another year to come back? And we have one senior that's been in school for a while, and he's been terrific for us, Mark Gasparini from American, and really not trying too much to look at what's next for those guys, but talk to them about, I think a lot of times your seniors go into the year and there's some anxiety about what's next, and they have some options now. But in terms of recruiting, I think the biggest challenge is, and this is just something for me since I've been fortunate enough to be a head coach, is making sure that you do a great job in the evaluation process and don't just take guys to take guys. And again, luckily for us, we're in a good position right now where we don't need a lot of guys in this class. I think we're going to sign one tomorrow, and then we can be pretty patient. I think the whole recruiting thing too, Jeff, is very, very fluid with the transfer rule that's going to go into effect in January. How does that affect recruiting? But I mean, if you think about it, none of us have been on the road to actually evaluate a kid. I know for me personally, I haven't been on the road since February, because you get to March, you have your last couple regular season games, and then we're preparing for the tournament, and we haven't been on the road. So I think just trying to make sure, yes, recruiting, doing Zooms, talking on the phone, keeping up with the relationships, doing those things, but also not rushing to take someone right now, and making sure we're doing a great job and evaluating, whether it's through film or whatever it is. And again, I think this whole transfer thing that's going to go into effect in January is going to change a lot of different things, and will change the landscape of recruiting as well.
Joe Gallo, the newcomer from Merrimack, but
Yep.
not a bad first appearance coming off a NEC title, 20-11, 14-4. I want to know how you're going to duplicate that. What's the team look like this year?
Well, first, thanks. I thought you guys were going to make me wait 4 years to be on this crew as well, through our transition. But I don't know. We start from scratch every year. That was a unique crew. I think Matt talked about the transfers a little bit. You don't deal with that a whole lot in Division II. So I think we were fortunate to have a crew that kind of grew, and we had 3 seniors that all started since freshmen, and doesn't matter if they're playing in Division II games, Division I games. They played about when we beat Northwestern, we had 3 starters that played 105 college basketball games, and they were starting 3 freshmen that were playing their second game. So it was unique that we had some older guys and have never been hit with the transfer bug, and able to kind of grow guys year by year like it used to be in the old days. So we don't really talk about last year a whole lot anymore. That is come and gone, and I love what we got back. We had a good freshman crew. Our first 3 guys off the bench were all freshmen that will all start for us this year. So they heard over and over how hard it is to win Division I basketball games, and kind of saw the guys in front of them and the work they put in. So we're just kind of taking it day by day.
Tommy, how worried are you about kids like opting out this year? Because with the Ivy not knowing, has that been a constant conversation with you and some of your players?
Jeff, it really hasn't. The tone that we wanted to set with our team and obviously with all the players, I wanted them to have all the options available and to do what was in their best interest. So whatever that would be, we were going to stand behind them and have their back and full support. I didn't want them to have any thoughts about what does this mean for the team, the program, or, hey, if you think you should transfer, if you think you should, business as usual, or, take a year, whatever. I wanted them to kind of just visit with their inner circle, parents, whomever else, and then just decide. And we were going to stand pat with them. And our seniors are in the transfer portal, but I encouraged them to do it so they would have options. We just want them to, none of this is any kid's fault, anybody's fault. And so, I just wanted them to feel like, hey, whatever is in there, this is the time they need to do what's in their best interest, and we would figure it out on our end when the time allowed us to do it.
Jimmy, you're healthy for the most part, aren't you, going into the season? I mean, as healthy as you've been in a few years with I know you lost the grad transfer, but other than that, pretty healthy going in. What's this team look like right now?
Obviously we are healthy. It's just the addition of Winston Tabbs, who's gone through so much, and to see what he's done rehabilitation wise through the pandemic, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's inspired everybody. I mean, this kid is to date, the prediction earlier was he was supposed to be able to be jogging
Wow.
and he's full out playing for like the last 3 weeks, and it's amazing, and he deserves it. So I have a really deep team. I have really deep perimeter. I think I have experienced older guys up front, and so I think it's, in my time here, it's without question the most depth that we've had, and a bunch of guys who've scored a lot of points in college basketball. And I agree a lot with Joe. College basketball is college basketball. If you've been successful at any level of college basketball, the things that you do well should transfer, over to what you're doing at any level. And you just got to work on the things that you don't. So I'm excited about our group. It's a very good, close group, and we're excited.
Bill, I ask you this every year. Who's the next kind of under the radar guy on your team? Who's ready to kind of make that jump? By now. We're 2 weeks away.
I think I'm getting introduced to some of our guys. This is about as young a team as we've had. We don't have a senior, but we do have some returning guys, and we do have some guys. Obviously, our most accomplished player coming back is Tyson Walker. Had a good freshman year for us, and I always feel like the biggest jump for college players is in between their freshman and sophomore year. Their freshman year, they don't know what they don't know, and they go out there, and sometimes they play loose, and everything kind of breaks their way, and they're having fun. And then that next year, they kind of have to get into a more of a leadership role, and teams kind of game plan against them. But he had an off-season surgery, and he battled through that, and did a great job, as Jimmy's kid was talking about, doing that during the pandemic and getting his rehab. But he's going to be our most accomplished player going into the season.
Joe, how do you go about this, Joe Jones? Because again, like Brett referred to earlier, you're not playing till January 2nd. You had a great season last year. You want to follow up on that. How do you keep these guys engaged, especially when they're going to be watching on TV all these other teams and players and their boys play a non-conference schedule?
Yeah, I think that's going to be challenging. Obviously, let's just be honest. They're going to want to play, but I'm hoping that we can just keep them focused on kind of what we're doing. When we have opportunities to get them back in the gym. Our guys are going to be going home for Thanksgiving, and then they're coming back, and then we have a month to get ourselves ready. But yeah, that'll be a little challenging. That'll be a little different for us. But I do think once we can get ourselves in the gym, we'll be fine. We're kind of headlined with 4-year guys that have been in the program now for 4 years, and they kind of lead the way. And as long as those guys are talking about the right things, I think they have the guys have a lot of confidence in them and believe in those guys that are the older guys. And I think as long as my older guys are focused and the staff's focused, we'll be fine in terms of keeping the guys' heads on straight.
And Matt, is this clearly your best team? Trey Mitchell, we've seen, might be as talented as almost any player in that league. What kind of gives you that confidence that he's going to be able to take that next jump, and you guys are as well?
Well, I think the biggest thing with Trey is just his character. I sound like a broken record talking about it, but he, as good of a player as he is, he's even an even better person. He's motivated, he's driven both on and off the floor. He's one of those guys you never have to worry about in terms of what he's doing academically. He's self-motivated. He knows what he wants to get his degree in, and he's driven by that. So as a coach, that gives you a tremendous amount of confidence. But there's no question. I think the character piece with our roster, the guys that we have returning with, obviously Trey, Carl Pierre. Carl's been here with me from day one, and he hasn't wavered. And there's been a lot of turnover since he's come through, and there's been a lot of changes, and he hasn't wavered one bit. He's stayed focused on getting better and improving. And when Carl walked on campus for his freshman year, he was, I think, 17 years old. He was young. Most guys in his situation that were pretty under recruited would go prep year, and he wanted to come to UMass. And I give Carl a tremendous amount of credit just for sticking through this process, and now his senior year being a part of a really, really good team. And then obviously TJ Weeks, son of Tyrone Weeks, great, one of the best players to ever play at UMass. TJ was leading us in scoring through the 10 games that he played last year before he had a surgery that took him out for the rest of the season. So we've got him back with an in-state guy coming back, Noah Fernandez. He's eligible. We couldn't be more excited about him. And then, our freshman class, Javon Garcia from Brewster Academy, Ronnie DeGray from Woodstock, DeAndre Dominguez, and Cairo McCoy from Woodstock. We've got a great group of young guys that are high character, that have a feel for the game. So, yeah, we're excited. We're excited. And with Trey, obviously he's got some expectations, not that he didn't coming in as a freshman, but just with what he did through the conference season of last year, the numbers he was putting up night in, night out, getting double teamed, triple teamed, was phenomenal. And it was, as a coach, it was fun to watch, but his character speaks for itself, and he's ready for year 2.
I want to know which one of you or Brett congratulated Billy Donovan first on getting the Bulls job. That's what I want to know. Brett, do they understand you now? Does everybody, understand you in Massachusetts? The accent a little bit less?
You know what? I don't get it as much here as I did other places, Jeff, believe it or not.
Really?
I'm kind of digging it. I'm good.
Yeah, the New England accent's too thick. It kind of overcomes the Southern accent pretty hard.
Listen, I got rid of mine when I went to school out in Arizona. I don't know if I told this story before, but I used to call back home and listen to my mom on the answer machine. And there were she has the thickest Boston accent. I'm like, this sounds so uneducated. Like, I got to get rid of this accent. So I came back from Tucson, Arizona, and this was it. Like, I had no Boston accent. Gone. But your accent sounds much better than Boston.
Appreciate that, Jeff.
How's the team look this year? A year removed, you inherited a lot of guys. What's it been like trying to kind of bring your own guys, your own system, because your system's very different than the previous regime?
Yeah, it's been good. We have 8 new faces this year. Right now, 7 guys that are eligible to play. We have 1 guy who has to sit out, trying to get him a waiver, but we'll see how that process goes. But right now, we have 7 new faces who could play this year. I'm excited about our group. I think our guys did a great job before we got them. Obviously, all of us, we didn't have these guys this summer. So during that 4 or 5 month period, they were home. I think we grew really close. Our guys did a good job. I didn't know what to expect when we got them on campus early September, but they were in a lot better shape than I expected. And then through the recruiting process, we really focused on guys who had high work capacity. And these kids, man, these young kids, they've really shown me that, number one, they will work, they want to work, and they're intentional about the work. I think we have an innately competitive group. And then, the last thing we really try to focus on is we had to get more athletic. And, our athleticism is going to be a lot different than it was last year. So hopefully that makes us a little better defensively, offensively, make those plays look better and everything like that. But I'm excited about our group. We got a good group of kids.
So you mentioned about waivers. Duke, what do you think the NCAA should be doing on this? Should everybody just get – I feel like we should be giving everybody waivers, especially this year. And most guys have gotten them. The one-time transfer waiver is probably going to go through next year anyway. What's the holdup at this point? Why not just give everybody a waiver? You've given everybody the year back anyway. Why the holdup on somebody like what Brett's dealing with at Holy Cross?
Yeah, well, just before I give you my thoughts on that, I just wanted to kind of publicly congratulate Joe Jones as well. I know we talked about this before we got on the call, but what an amazing job you did last year. And I think your kids were stripped of that opportunity. I think everybody on this call knows how much goes into that. And also, whether it's as a player, as assistant coach or head coach, those of us that have been to the tournament, how rewarding that is and how special that experience is. Your kids deserve that. And it's not like you wake up one year and you have a great team, you do a great job coaching. It's usually, 4 or 5 years of building. And just a credit to you for the program you've built there, and congrats on last year.
Appreciate that, Pat. Means a lot, brother. Appreciate you.
The transfer thing, I think it probably, at this point, it's already done, right? It's going to change. Everybody's going to be able to play right away next year. If I was the guy behind the curtain and I knew that was coming forward, I would probably say then let them all play this year. I'm a little nervous about what it's going to mean next year and how it's going to impact our programs, how different the landscape's going to be. But if it's going to head that way starting in January, and so many of the kids have been awarded waivers so far, yeah, I would be in favor of that, letting everybody play, especially given the year we're in, right? I mean, let's not deny any kid a chance to play in games if they can at this point, given everything else we've been through.
Joe, congrats for me as well. And how hard was it, getting through that? Because you, like Pat said, you had built for that for a while. That had been something that you had worked for a few years and had been snake bitten a little bit by injuries and whatnot. Obviously gratifying to get there and then have it taken away. How long did it take you, or are you still kind of dealing with it a little bit?
No, so honestly, just watching the guys celebrate after the championship game was an amazing feeling, to just be a part of that, because it was such a great group of guys. The bus ride home was awesome. Just that experience of being together for that long. It was a 4-hour trip. It got back at like 4 a.m. And then, what we try to do was just tell the guys and tell the press we weren't going to talk about the NCAA tournament, because at that time it was actually that day that the NBA had canceled their season. And so, the back of my mind, I knew we weren't going to be playing the NCAA tournament, that, after the NBA did what they did. But I just tried to just take it all in and enjoy the moment. And then the next day we had to deal with it. So honestly, what happened to us was probably at like 1:30, our women's team was told that their season was over and they were going into their semifinal game. And I really think they were primed to win their tournament. And we saw the girls after their meeting, and they were shook. And so some of our guys saw them. So when I got to my guys, they kind of had a feeling what was going on. And then we just kind of talked about how great it was that we at least had a chance to play, and that we able to at least play for the championship, and how so many other people didn't get that opportunity, and how there was so much going on in our country and in the world that was much bigger than the NCAA tournament. And there were people losing their lives. And I think our guys, to their credit, kind of handled that moment well. Now, since that time, you're home for 5 months and you're kind of going through it. And I think, definitely, I think all of us, including myself, had that moment where you were like, damn, that would have been great to hear our name called and kind of go through that whole thing. But then you kind of get past that. And like Joe said, that's in the past now. We're kind of moving and seeing, how this works. This year works out for us. We do have everybody back except for Max Mahoney and Adam Makula, who was a walk-on. So we feel like we have a good group, and we're just kind of happy to be around each other. And we haven't really talked too much about what we missed out on, as much as we would love to have an opportunity to play for something special again if we're good enough to do it. So it's, it was a great experience, but it's something that I think as I get older, maybe I'll have a different feeling, but I just feel grateful now to at least have played for something special with that group.
McCall and Brett, being my SEC guys here, SEC football today, there were like 4 games canceled or postponed, canceled, whatever you want to call it. My whole deal is, listen, if SEC football is canceling, are we in trouble? I mean, seriously, are we in trouble here? Because we never thought SEC football would get canceled, did we? I mean, no chance.
No chance.
No chance. So, am I crazy, Brett, to be scared here? We're 2 weeks and a day away. And if SEC football can't be playing, how the hell are we going to play college basketball? I was feeling good until today. I was like half glass full, and I'm a pessimist by nature, but I was feeling really good until I saw that today. So please talk me off the ledge.
Yeah, man, it's this thing is definitely different. You know, at the end of the day, just like I tell my team, man, you got to control what you can control. The rest is just noise. And you know, if you're constantly worried about, and even next week, this thing's changing so fast. I mean, you look at the NFL even. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, NFL teams like are canceling, postponing games. So, you know, to think about 2 or 3 weeks from now, it's just a guess, honestly. And for us, like Joe and I, think about January 2nd. That's a long way away, Jeff. So control what you can control, man. The rest is just noise.
Matt, you on the same deal?
Yeah, I mean, they're not all canceled. There'll still be some games being on Saturday. Trust me. As much as some of them are canceled, some of them are still playing. Okay, and you know, you look at a team like Clemson. I mean, I know they lost to Notre Dame, but you know, Trevor Lawrence is out, and the next guy comes in and plays his tail. So there's a lot of football games still being played. I think that, you know, your non-conference schedules. I mean, even, you know, we're still, you know, 2 weeks out from playing a game, and you know, we think, and I'm sure everybody on this call, especially the ones that we are playing and starting in 2 weeks, it's still a moving target, right? Like, we have games scheduled, but dates could change, could happen. You know, we're supposed to be in this Mohegan Sun deal and 4 games there, and you know, but there's still different protocols that we have to abide by on campus at UMass, where we can't be gone for a certain amount of time without being tested regularly. You know, here on campus, we have to get. So it's still such a moving target. It really is. I think another thing too, Jeff, is just officiating, right? Officials, and how does that come into play? And you know, we haven't even, you know, talked about that in terms of our league yet, like officials, and you know, where are they coming from, and how is that happening, and who's testing them, how often they get. I mean, you know, I'm optimistic about playing in 2 weeks. Obviously, our guys are excited about playing, but you know, kind of like Brett said, we got to control what we can control. I'll never forget. I think it was, you know, a month into the quarantine deal, and Doc Rivers had a podcast about talking about winning the weight. What are we going to do to win the weight? And, you know, just got to continue to just focus on getting better every day. You know, Coach, you know, again, everybody's reiterated this, but congrats on the year you had. All the way back to Larry Shia's, like, you know, but what you're talking about too, is just trying to keep things fresh and exciting and not so mundane every single day and doing the same thing, and just, you know, trying to keep your guys engaged, because really they only out of their dorm, and we're completely remote, so they only get out of their dorm for that, maybe that hour lift, 45-minute lift in the morning, and then a 2-3 hour practice in the afternoon. And then Jeff, me and you talked about this on the phone. You asking me just, you know, about COVID and different things and getting shut down. And, you know, the other thing too is keeping in mind, our guys haven't done anything all summer. Normally we get the whole summer to strength, condition, and get them in shape and run and do those types of things, and being mindful of overuse and injuries and things like that. That's been another challenge too. And I think that's not, you know, us here. You see that going across the entire country, guys missing 6 to 8 weeks for an ACL or a sprained knee or stuff like that. And that's just because we don't do anything over the summer. Normally that's such a time, guys, to be in the weight room with the strength coach and get stronger and build those things for the season.
You know, we learned that Comcast needs to get better in Amherst, Massachusetts, because
hey Jeff,
Yeah.
just want to say to Jimmy, you know, when you guys beat Notre Dame this weekend in football, don't rush the field, man.
No fans are allowed. There'll be nobody rushing. Nobody rushing. We can't have a fan in the stadium.
When you
Well,
guys
there's gonna be fans?
when you guys gonna pull it off, man. You're gonna pull it off. Just don't rush the damn field, right?
Listen, I thought about trying to get a media credential for the game until I thought about it. I'm like, I want no part of going anywhere near that stadium this weekend. Jimmy,
What time is that game, by the way, Jimmy?
I think it's 3:30, isn't it?
Afternoon. Okay.
It's an afternoon game.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think the best part is you can get a parking spot anywhere now. Even during a football game, you can roll right in front of the building now. It's the best.
Actually, let me go to Tommy, because it sounds, Tommy, you've had all the time in the world. Like, you probably watch every football game, read every book. Like, What's the life of Tommy Amaker been like over the last few months?
Well, funny, Jeff, as we all at time, Bill and I both, being on the board, with the NABC. So, being a part of, committees, they're different organizations that all of us have, I'm sure have taken a part in, and that's taken up a lot of time. I mean, to be very honest, the things that we've been able to, we're trying to work on for the good of the game. I chair a committee now, the Committee on Racial Reconciliation on behalf of the NABC. So, that's been a big ordeal, to be very honest with you with that. So it hasn't been as much like sitting around trying to figure out what to do. It's just been a different kind of busy, as we know, with all of us with the Zooms, and we're all kind of, probably, if not everybody, I know I am, Zoom fatigue. We all have gone through that whole process with all this, but it's a different kind of being tired. I know, like, you haven't really gone out to run around the whole Cape Cod, but at the end of the afternoon, the end of the day, I feel like I'm just exhausted. I'm like, where is this coming from? I mean, you guys feel the same way? Am I saying anything that's out in left field? I mean, Jesus Christ, like, how does that happen, right?
A lot of Zooms, lot of Zooms.
You just made me feel great because I turned 55 yesterday, bro. And I'm like, oh, I am an old man, dude. I am old, bro.
Yeah, welcome to the club, man.
Oh,
Yeah, all right.
God damn.
All right.
Hey, so Joe and Brett, you guys are playing each other how many times in conference play this year? How many times?
Brett, you tell him.
How many?
6.
I have no idea why they didn't just make that best of 7. I hope
Exactly,
you put
exactly. We may get that in. We may scrimmage each other.
We'll scrimmage in December.
We
How
may
about that?
scrimmage
6 times.
6 times, bro.
Like, you guys are going to be so sick of looking at each other.
That 6th game will be like 25-29.
Oh,
What,
God.
seriously, what have you guys even thought about that? Like, what's that going to be like?
No, I have to be honest. The first time that I even had some thought of it was yesterday, because you're just dealing with so much. And I'm just trying not to waste my time right now thinking about that. Honestly, I'm just trying to get better today and trying to just get to tomorrow with all negative tests and everybody's healthy, and not think too much about that, because
Explain what it is, Joe. Explain your, I don't even get it completely, but it's basically you're playing like, how many teams? Six
so we're
times?
playing. So they broke it down into 3 pods based on proximity.
Yeah.
So Brett and I are in the same pod with Colgate and with Army. And then you play one crossover game with another pod. Then they have the 3 teams in Pennsylvania, Lafayette, Lehigh, and Bucknell. And then the teams in Maryland are a pod: American, Loyola, and Navy. And that's how they've, I think, and I may be missing one team, but that's how they broke it up. And then you're playing the teams in your pod, you're playing those teams 4 times. You're playing one of those teams, I think, 6, and then you're playing a crossover game as well. I think that's how it breaks. And then there are a lot of teams, like we're playing Holy Cross. They come to us the next day they come to us on Saturday. On Sunday, we go to them. And then the other teams that you're traveling to, you play those teams, obviously, Saturday, Sunday on the road. So everyone's schedule is completely different. So there's no looking at my schedule and saying, wow, we have an easier schedule than other people, because there's other things that they have that we don't have in terms of travel, and so be it. So, right now, I think they just did, the presidents got together and God bless them, that we were able to put something together that we can at least play, that they feel like they can keep people safe, and I'll take it. I don't like the fact that I'm playing Brett 6 times, but to be honest with you, it's better than sitting at home for 5 months, not being around my kids, not being able to coach. So if they give me a chance to play, I want to play. So that's the way I see it.
Yep.
Now, once we start playing, after the freaking 3rd time playing them, 4th time, I might be feeling different. But right now, it's all gravy to me, honestly.
At least, you only got to scout a couple teams this year. You scout Holy Cross, you're pretty good. I don't know who you're putting on that scout, but it better be your best assistant. Joe Gallo. how do you approach this year? I was talking to a coach earlier today, and he said he was going to go to his AD today and basically say, all right, what do you want from me? Do you want me to coach in a way that we're going to get in as many games as possible? Or do you want us to win? Like, what's the priority here? I don't know if any of you guys have thought that way, but I found it interesting because I just figured, like everybody's coaching to win, but it was almost like he's coaching to protect his kids in a way from not getting COVID to make sure they can get as many games in as possible. And he wanted to find out from his AD if which way he should go with this. Have you thought that way at all?
Not really. I mean, we've had some pretty good testing in place as a school. We have some times where our testing center is closed that actually is limiting some of our non-conference. So I haven't really had to have a lot of those discussions. It was more tell me the dates I could play and I'll find games. But I don't think it'd be fair to your kids to be coaching to I think you gotta, they want to win. I mean, they're all competitors, and you show up every day to coach them to win. I think it's a little bit different feeling when I had a phone call this morning, 7:30 this morning, from one of my guys, and your heart stops for a second. Like it used to be, you get a smile on your face when you see one of your guys checking in with you, but now you always think there's something wrong when someone calls. And it was, he's living with a couple soccer players, and one of their teammates had a positive test, and he's by nature a secondary kind of contact, but he's fine. And in case I heard anything, so just the types of things they have to worry about are much, much different. So, we just kind of show up and coach them hard like we always do, and compete. And, they want to win games. It wouldn't be fair to them to try and preserve them. The school's got good policies in place, and just kind of whatever the schedule allows us to play, we're going to play. I think once it got announced that, they all get the year back, it took a big weight off all their shoulders. I kind of told them early, it's not ideal. It was probably 3 months ago. I walked into the building, and a couple athletes from a different team were getting their temperatures checked, and, kind of giving the trainers a hard time of, oh, I forgot my phone, or this is BS. And, kind of light went off in my head to talk to my guys, like, guys, anytime you're going to tell yourself like this is BS, tell yourself this is awesome. Because it's different times. That's great. We got to get our temperature checked when we walked in. It could be a lot worse things in the world than, getting a thermometer up to our forehead. So I give my guys credit. They've handled all this great. So we're just kind of live to see the next day is how we're approaching it.
Have any of you guys heard this? I heard this today. One league, I think the Big South is what I was told, is having something where you get 75% is weighted towards a win, and 25% is just if you show up, if you play the game. So like they're doing a win-loss,
like hockey points.
That way. Have you guys heard that?
No.
Nobody? All right. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I heard it from a coach like an hour before I got on the call, and he said, basically they're going to do it and again, it's like 75% win if you get the win, and then 25% just if you show up, if you play the game. I guess because that'll change the winning percentage. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but anybody raise your, well, I guess raise your hand is the wrong way to do it because there's only a few you it pertains to. But what are you guys doing for Christmas break? Sending your kids home, or are you keeping them on campus? Because a lot of coaches are worried if you send them home, you bring them back, you don't know, obviously, if you're, where they've been over those few days.
Honestly, I'm sending my kids home. This is Christmas. Christmas supersedes basketball.
Yeah, they need it, right?
Christmas, these kids have been through enough. So we're going home. We play the 22nd. They're coming home. We come back the 26th. They have to pass multiple tests before we practice again. And then we play the 30th. But this is Christmas. I mean, come on. Sometimes I think we overthink it. You know what I mean? Like, these kids were home for 6 months, and knock on wood, we didn't have one kid come back with a positive test. You got to trust them. They understand this. They understand how connected they are. They understand how important this season is, how connected they are to each other's success, and what the ramifications are. And sometimes the things just happen. Nobody's trying to be unhealthy, but for me, my personal opinion was, look, Christmas, family values, all the things you've been through. We're asking you guys to do a lot of things here. That's an important time, especially when you can't have your family here.
Yeah, I think it's important for the family too. The families of these kids that have been without them for a while. I mean, a lot of these kids have been on your campus since, July. They're not going home for Thanksgiving. They can't come out and see him play or see him at all, right? What else? All right, we'll have some questions here in a minute from some of the people that are virtually watching this. My big dilemma is whether to go to Mohegan Sun, guys. I know a few of you are coaching in that. McCall, Jimmy, Pat, right? 3 of you, correct? 3 of you, and I'm torn. Honestly, I'm a little bit torn what to do. They've told me they'll allow in a few media people, and my whole deal is like, is it even worth it? Depending on the access, I'm not getting access. I mean, maybe I'll get some, but is it really worth it? And I know some media people have gone to practices and things of that nature. I haven't gone to a practice yet for a reason. And honestly, I wouldn't want you to let me into a practice. I wouldn't want you. Why put your players at risk? And I'm not yelling at you, Matt McCall, at all. I promise. But I just, to me, I feel like, why put anybody at risk for something that's not that important? And even going to Mohegan Sun. Yeah, I want to watch basketball in the worst way. I would love to watch that first game with you guys playing, Jimmy. Love to. But is it worth it at the end of the day when I got to go hopefully see my parents, a week later, and my dad's in his late 70s, and I don't know. So anyway, hopefully I'll get to Mohegan Sun. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not, but how worried are you guys about the protocol? Matt, I guess you'd be one. Pat, Jimmy, about the protocol at Mohegan Sun. I know they're testing when you get there. I know they're testing every single day. Even your kids, like, are they going to walk through the casinos? Have you found that out? Like, are they taking them around a back entrance? Any idea of that stuff, Matt?
I mean, we're still working through a lot of that, Jeff. And even though we're 2 weeks out, I think because some of the protocols that we have in place here on campus, in terms of how often we have to be just to be here with the testing protocol, we're supposed to essentially play 4 games down there. We're trying to work it out to where how we can be mindful of our testing situation here, abide by the bubble, quote unquote, protocols there, be able to track some back and forth because of our testing here. So there's still a lot of the details that we're trying to iron out. Our administration's trying to iron out. They're working with protocols at Mohegan Sun to make sure of all that. I think, in terms of, our player team, the casino, things like that, is that a concern? I think, again, got to just continue to stress. You've got good players on your team, like Jimmy was talking about earlier. You got to trust your guys too. They want to play, and this has been a long process to even be able to get ourselves back on campus to where we're practicing and doing those types of things. Can we, prevent everything? No. Like, we get in our cars and go home to our homes every night to be with our families, and we can't monitor and what they're doing over there 24/7 all the time. But you trust your guys. You got to trust good guys. No different when you go on the road and you're in the Mohegan Sun. And hey, we have to. If we're not playing a game, we got to stay in our rooms. And we got to abide by this in order to play. Because at the end of the day, they want to play. And I think a big thing, Jeff, you're talking about. The concern of going to the games and covering the games. I think as a coach, for us, we're not going to see our players' parents at many games this year, if any. I know the state of Massachusetts, my boss told me the other day, if the Patriots aren't having immediate fans, we're not having immediate families and fans. Okay? So until the Patriots say they're taking that fan, just families coming, it's not going to be us. So having media coverage for our parents to be able to see their sons or read about their sons, I think it's important, because it's such a challenging year, and they're going to need that. The NBA bubble was terrific and didn't even feel like there weren't any fans there, but the coverage and the exposure that the NBA had was through.
I mean,
All right,
to me, Jeff, one of the biggest keys in this whole puzzle is the contact tracing and the different interpretations, the level of inconsistency. If the whole team has to quarantine, if one person or one staff member gets it, number one, I think it's highly unlikely to be able to play a lot of games. I mean, you try, but it's going to be unlikely. The second part I worry about that is the mental health aspect of it. And imagine if you're the one kid or the one, trainer or staff member that brought it to the team at a crucial part in the season, and next thing you know, you're out 2 weeks, plus you got to get tests done and all that. So that part's just hard for me to wrap my head around. And then you see different interpretations of it. I mean, Coach Izzo, unfortunately, got COVID, but his team and his staff is moving on and practicing. So, Clemson lost their quarterback, but they still played Boston College the next week. So just the level of inconsistency with that makes it a little bit confusing for me. And depending on how you're going to interpret that, I think it's going to determine how difficult it is for you.
I think my biggest thing is I just don't know if I trust myself not to go to Mohegan Sun and not hit the blackjack table. So I think I just need to stay away, period, not even be tempted there. All right, we'll go to a few questions from people who are virtually watching right now. This is a good one. I mean, listen, Bill, I remember us talking about this the first year you got the job. And we had it going for a while there. Will we ever see a Massachusetts D1 event with all of you involved? Maybe at the Garden. Bill, take it away. Take it away.
We had it, Jeff, right?
Had it.
And it was Coaches versus Cancer. I think it was a great event. I'd love to see it come back. In fact, I think I was talking to Pat. I know that another idea when Mohegan Sun started with the bubble. I thought we should all the 8 of us should go to the bubble, whoever's eligible. And the Celtics weren't playing. Why not go down there and play hockey on one night and basketball on the other and have a fan fest? But no, it was a great event. Obviously there are so many things in today's the world of scheduling, and that makes it so difficult. But especially when we combined it with the Coaches versus Cancer initiative, I thought it was a terrific tip-off event to the season where all the teams kind of played down there. Of course, you have to have openings in everybody's schedule and things have to work out, but maybe someday it'll come back.
I hope so. A quadruple header at the Garden. I'll be there. You guys do that, I'll be there. I will not travel, I promise. I will go to that one in a heartbeat. It'd be awesome. All right, we got a few others here.
Jeff, we just won't make Holy Cross and BU play the 7th game down there.
That would be awesome. Yes. Game number 7. Man, you guys are really going to get sick and tired of each other. I can tell you that. Good thing you're both good guys. And, Brett kind of balances you out a little bit, Joe. So you'll be all right, All right, here's one. The question was, who's the most improved golfer this season? I want to see who's played the most rounds this season. All right, go around. I just want to hear the number. All right, the number of rounds. We'll see who the golfers are, who they're not. I just want to see how many rounds. Tommy, how many?
Let's go alphabetically. All right, so 0.
0. Jimmy?
Ask Pat. The only time I played golf was with Pat Duquette. So
Really?
How many we played, Pat?
More than we've ever played before, I'll say.
No doubt about it.
And I'd say we probably both got worse.
No doubt about it. I'm definitely not the most improved.
We don't have Joe Jones? 0.
0.
Joe Gallo?
One round, shot about a 130. I have an assistant that scratched though, so that I don't know what that says about me as a boss.
Bill Cohen, Bill, what do you got?
0.
Zero. McCall?
Hey, you guys don't play golf. I played quite a bit. I like to play. I play with Brent once. I had my first hole in this summer, so that was an accomplishment.
Congrats.
I played since high school. I enjoy the game. When I was the ops guy at Florida and a PA, when recruiting was different and those guys would leave July 1st and they wouldn't come back till July 31st, single. I'd leave the office. Brett knows the University of Florida golf course was right next to our practice facility. I'd go out there at 5 o'clock at night and I'd walk 18 holes every night. The assistants would come back July 31st and my golf game would halt for a while, but I got down to about a handicap during that time, so I could go out and play a little bit. So.
Brett, you match him?
No way. He's way better than me. I give him credit. He's probably a 3 handicap now. Probably 3 or 4 times for me.
How many times?
Probably 3 or 4 times. I didn't play as much as I'd like this summer, but probably 3 or 4 times this summer.
Yeah, if you
Now,
got
Dad's playing every day. Brett's down there playing
Yeah,
every
playing
day.
every day.
I played twice, and then I thought about buying a set of clubs after that, and then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm going to spend like so. How about this one? I saw a video of Jason Tatum, and he crushed the ball and he had never played before. So I texted him. I'm like, and there was a big story. Like I guess he took lessons from somebody. I'm like, who'd you take lessons from? I'm going to go take lessons from whoever. So I drove all the way to Natick, which from Newburyport, that's over an hour now. Took my daughter with me. I actually wanted her to learn and see if she'd like it, and we could do it together. Yeah, it didn't do shit.
Listen, don't let them fool you. That's the
still
NBA
terrible.
bubble. Those guys are playing golf in the NBA bubble every day. Okay, Coach Donovan was telling me those guys down in the bubble, in between games, day of the games, those guys were on those Disney World golf courses every day.
They should have been. They had plenty of time in between, especially early on. Plenty of time. What do you got there, Duke?
Jeff, I won't tell you how many times we played this this year. Let's just say weekly, okay? But we had a foursome. We had a friendly competition. It was 2-on-2. Jimmy wasn't on my team. We had a blast with it, and we kept we had the regular season standings, and then we went to the playoffs. And just so you know, it's the only trophy I have in my living room. It's we call it the BC Fluff Cup. Jimmy started I don't know if you guys play golf, but when you fluff it up, the preferred lie, we call it the Jimmy Fluff.
I like a good shot. I'm not out there. I'm not a professional. I don't play by all the rules over there.
And he lets us fluff it up too.
This kept us sane for about 6 months, but I want everybody to know, like, if it wasn't for these weekly golf matches, we all would have been in trouble, all 4 people in this group. And we're like little kids, so we play, and then we text each other for the next 3 hours after the round, making fun of one another. So it's like, I felt like I was 13 again. It was unbelievably fun. Still is, by the way, because it was 70 degrees last Thursday.
Man, it was nice today. This
Great
might be it.
It's Masters Week. Jeff. It's Masters Week. Great.
It is Masters Week. It is, no doubt. What if there's one thing that was kind of a highlight for you guys, if you can look back at something through these last 6 months and feel good about it, was there one thing that stood out? For me, it was just spending time probably with my family and not being on the road, where you're usually on the road in all of July and you're tired and whatnot. Go kind of around the horn with that if we can quickly on what.
Yeah, I'll start because I'm up here in the top next to you. And you know what was unbelievable for me is I have a 14-year-old son that just started playing basketball last year. So he was the only player I had to work out for 6 straight months. So it was the best time I've ever had. And he's now loves it. And he's verbally committed to Pat. That was part of the loss. He's verbally committed to UMass Lowell. So, but it was the best experience. I think it's changed both our lives, to be quite honest with you.
So now you'd have him. Would he have played for you before, and now he might?
You're muted.
You know, he'd definitely have to play for Pat. He couldn't play for me.
Joe Jones?
Yeah, similarly, I had a chance to spend more time with my family. My son, I had a chance to work my son out, and Brad and my son, his son play on the same AAU team. So we worked them out for about an hour before he went down to the bubble. And that was awesome, to kind of watch how excited my son was to work out with the Celtics coach instead of me. So I was like Brad's assistant for a month, working our sons out, but that was a lot of fun before he left.
Tommy?
Yeah, Jeff, as I'm thinking about this, it's a little bit of a different take for me to think of what I think in terms of really positive. Obviously, it's been awful in so many different ways with, a big divide in our country, with the racial tensions, certainly with the pandemic. But I do think because of all of what's happened, specifically because of the pandemic, I think it's allowed all of us in a different way to think and see things differently. And I know, sometimes you got to go through hell to kind of get to another side of things, which are going to turn out to be, I think, really helpful for all of us as Americans. And to think of how so many people, were so involved in the Black Lives Matter, how diverse, the protests, and to see that, for maybe speaking for all of us, I think, what a wonderful scene and scenery to see all people kind of getting behind the movement to make our country more just, more equal, and better. And so I think of that more than anything else, to be very honest. And then certainly what we just witnessed with the election, and not trying to get into anybody's politics, but just the fact of how many more people were aware and involved in voting. So I just think some of these things at times they're incredible silver linings that that we need to keep in mind, as we're marching forward and thinking of of our nation being better.
Well said, Tommy. Thank you for saying that.
I would just echo what Tommy said. The conversations that we had with our staff and our team surrounding the racial tension was awesome. It was inspiring, real open, honest, emotional, some tough conversations, but I learned so much about our guys, and I think we learned about each other. That was really, really rewarding for me. And then we've all talked about, being grateful. And for me, I don't have a family at home that I spent more time with during the last 6 months. But what it made me realize is how grateful I am to go to work every day and for the opportunity to coach these guys and in the game we love and to be together for 2 or 3 hours. I could not wait to get back to work in September. So it really made me self-reflect and appreciate the opportunity that we have on college campuses and working with our players.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of echo. I think that obviously the time that we able to spend. I've got 2 young daughters. I got a 7-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. And even, I met my wife when I was an assistant coach at Florida Atlantic, so it's probably the most time I've ever been able to sit at home. But that's been amazing. And then too, just the day that our guys got back on campus, through all the Zooming, through all the meetings virtually, the day that they walked back on campus, and even though we were all in masks and just trying to help them, with their moving to their dorms and stuff like that, that was an awesome day.
Joe Gala?
Yeah, so I had my second son was born on June 8th, which was my first son's 4th birthday. So a little bit different experience with, what I had the first 2 months of both of their lives with not having to be on the road in July, and the time I spent with my second son in those early weeks. My wife was shocked that I actually knew how to change a diaper. But then, to echo some of these guys and getting back in September, and just happy to see our guys really not miss a beat with each other. I think non-sports people don't really understand. I'm sure Brett and Matt, I don't know how often you guys are in contact with each other, but you can go a year or two without seeing a former teammate or a former player, and you could run into them and get a phone call, and it's like you just saw each other the day before. And to walk into that first workout and kind of see our guys clowning after not seeing each other since February 25th or whatever it was, kind of just a happy moment for the program.
Brett?
Yeah, I mean, I have a 10-year-old son, so the time that we got to spend together was invaluable. It was awesome. Kind of like Jim said, it really helped and changed our relationship. Only problem is, Jeff, he might be more competitive than I am. So there was
he's a ball player. He's a ball player.
Days in the driveway that my wife had to get between us, but just kidding. But it was awesome to be able to spend time with him. I threw more football than I ever have in my life. I think I could throw it probably 60, 65 yards right now. But also, like these guys said, like I remember obviously seeing our guys that first day, but the first day we got back on the court, like it was unbelievable. The energy in there. You don't realize how much you miss it. Just being, with your guys on a day-to-day basis. So, definitely be with my 10-year-old son every single day. Then getting our guys back just puts things in perspective.
Billy?
Yeah, I think these guys have said it perfectly. I agree so much with Tommy with with the backdrop of everything that's happened over the last 6 months, and how much heartache and adversity and pain and suffering that everybody's kind of been through. Like Pat, you develop an attitude of gratitude and you're grateful for the little things. And sometimes as coaches, we can obsess about so many things, whether it's recruiting or, how am I going to face off against Joe Jones again and solve ball screen coverage or whatever it is. And you realize, in the middle of this adversity that, many of those things are meaningless. And, caring about people and seeing the growth in the young people and the inspiration that, I think Pat talked about during the conversations that come out, the hope for the next generation that they do it in a better way than what we're doing, was really inspiring. But then the gratefulness to be able to get back to doing what we do, and so grateful for everybody at Northeastern. And you go through the emergency workers and the hospital workers and mail deliveries and supermarket, you just become so much more appreciative and so much more aware of your surroundings, and the ability to hit pause on basketball and stop obsessing about, the game we love and really just kind of dial into humankind and mankind and see some of the brighter things has been probably the biggest thing, and spending, time with family and people you love. And even if it is over Zoom, whether it's close connections, you find a way, and those connections are so important.
I'll tell you what, all you guys with younger kids. So as you probably already know, I have a 17-year-old daughter, and just wait till you have to teach your kids how to drive. Just wait till you get in the car with them. It is a nightmare. Maybe the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. I'm like, and she was good early. She was, I'm telling you, I'm like, all right, this is going to be easy. And then I think she plateaued at a certain point. And now we followed her. She got her license, and we legitimately would not let her drive anywhere without following her for like 2 weeks. I felt so bad. Even remember when it snowed a couple of weeks ago? I drove out to Pingree, to her school, half an hour away, to follow her back home. And but again, that's what you have to look forward to. But it is the process was awesome, teaching her, being in the car with her every time. But man, it is still scary as you know what. When you're in there with her, and you just like I told her the other day, I'm like, you got to brake earlier. Like, you have to brake earlier. You cannot be that close to that car in the left-hand lane on the highway. It's like, whatever. But she's not going to listen. She's a teenage girl. She's not going to listen. Anyway, all right, let's go to a kind of an interesting question here. It's not really politics, but it is a little bit. What impact will Biden have on college sports? And I've thought about this a little bit. Are you guys at all concerned that with Joe Biden taking over, that he's going to be more strict and maybe shut down college sports? Anybody want to take this one? No takers? Nobody? Come on. Really?
I don't know that. I mean, I'll just jump in and we can all kind of chime in as you wish and you will. But I don't know that Joe Biden or I don't feel that he's going to do anything that wouldn't be the right thing to do. At least the way he's presented himself, with the pandemic and with COVID-19. I think he's has trusted advisors and medical experts, which is what I personally believe. So if that's the route you need to go, because that's what he's being advised by the people who know best, I'm in favor of that.
Anybody else want to chime in on that one? Or are we moving on? We're moving on, aren't we? All right. I just thought it was interesting question, because people are certainly concerned about that a little bit, that Biden will be more likely to shut down college sports than Trump was or has been, certainly with.
Well, Jeff, just to, I'm not trying to jump on this, but I don't know that it would be, I don't think the question or the comment about Biden will do it. I think Biden, at least the way he's presented himself through the election and the campaign and everything, that he's going to abide by the science and the medical experts. So my answer to that, or my comment to that, if he does, it will be by, I would think the intelligence or the advice that he would be given by the people who would probably know this better than others. So I don't see personally, if that's the case, I wouldn't see what's wrong with that.
No. All right, we'll go back to a lighter one. Somebody asked, and I'm going to change the question a little bit, or how do you stay in shape outside of coaching? I want to know who's gotten in better shape and who's gone the other way through the pandemic. I'm about the same. Tom, you looking good. I mean, hard to tell in these Zoom calls, but
yeah, we got a lot of lights in there. We structured this thing the right way, Jeff.
Yeah. You've been good? You've been good with your diet or no?
We're trying, man. We're trying.
You've been eating ice cream. You've been eating ice cream and Mashpee.
Yeah, we're trying, man. We're trying. That's all I'm gonna say. We're trying.
Tommy's been the same weight since 1983, as has Joe Jones, and I can attest to both of that. I can attest to both of those guys.
Jimmy, we go a long way back, right? Or back to 5-star. Hotel in the cabin.
McCall, you still got your girlish figure. Don't worry, you're still good.
It was like when the pandemic started and we were all, we were quarantining, everybody was at home for so long. I ended up on like Saturday, just taking off. I'm just gonna go for a run. I'll come back whenever, and sometimes it's 4 miles, sometimes it'd be 6, sometimes it was 8. So I found a way to try and stay in shape.
Listen, all I know is none of you, I think, are getting more than a couple points off Brett if you guys are playing one-on-one right now. He's younger than most of you, right? McCall, can you attest to that?
Well, I mean, I'm about to offer his son. I don't know if that's an NCAA violation, but you follow the guy on Instagram or social media. Eli's drinking jumpers out there. He's got the in-out crossover just like his dad, the quick release. Yeah, I'm more about playing him.
What took you so long? I mean, come on.
Too.
You should have known this from the time he was born. You should have offered him.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Oh, man. We got a couple more minutes.
Just all the rebounding I did for Brett when he was a player. I'd be in there late at night with Brett, rebounding, snapping passes to him. Hopefully he can return the favor one day.
Yeah, keep reminding me of that, right?
Brett, what's your? I don't know if we did this last year. Give me your favorite Billy Donovan story.
Ooh.
It could be something entertaining too. Try to make it entertaining if you can, not just too vanilla.
The first one that comes to mind, I remember being at Kentucky and refereeing. I think it was my freshman or sophomore year, and we were getting drop kicked at halftime. We were down like 20, and he comes busting in the locker room. And when coach would get upset, sometimes he's been known to like throw a Gatorade bottle or flip over a water jug or something like that. So he comes busting in the locker room, and they had these big trash cans, and he went to go grab it. I think he was going to slam it or whatever, and it was bolted to the ground. He's like, huh. He like jerked like 3 or 4 really hard times. And I remember Anthony Grant was on our staff. He was there all 4 years, and he's like the most cool, calm, poised guy ever. he's over there leaning against the wall, like smirking, and like we all just lost it. It was you had to be there, but it was pretty funny.
That's pretty good.
Coming out, he really didn't say much at halftime, and it ended up going into overtime. We ended up losing the game, but after that, it kind of lightened the mood in Rupp Arena that night.
Jeff, that's part of that too, is he did the same thing in the 2007 national championship game, but he was almost doing it to fire them up before the game. And he went over and he was talking how the trophy was behind this door and we had to bust through the door and grab the trophy. And he goes to pick up this trash can in the arena in Atlanta, in the dome in Atlanta. He can't pick it up. And he yanked so hard. If you looked at his shirt during the national championship game, he's got a blood stain right here on his wrist from where he cut his wrist, trying to pick that trash can up to fire up the team.
Hey, Joe Jones, were you surprised that Jay Wright didn't look at the Philadelphia 76ers job?
I knew it was going to be a Jay Wright question at some point with you. That's your guy.
The last few minutes, you got to mix it up. Ask some,
I honestly was not surprised at all. I think he has just been very consistent with how he's kind of viewed his life and what makes him happy. And I think being at Villanova, he's always loved that job. I remember when I was a high school coach and he was the ops guy at Villanova. He just had so much pride there, and then being a part of that staff with him there, it's just where he belongs. I don't know if at some point he will go to the NBA, but I just think that's home for him, and I think he's happy there.
It's tough to leave when you got it going like you do right now, too, right? I mean, they're right in the hunt again every single year. They're older. They got good, high character players. How about Bill Cohen and Pat Duquette coaching an NBA champion in Jared Dudley, right? You talked to Jared after he won it?
Just congratulations. And, Jared's a great kid. He's a great man right now, but always great sense of humor and very gracious with his time. And whenever he comes back to Boston, stops by and says hello to the team. But really happy for him. It's been a long road, but to be an NBA champion, it's something, to be really proud of.
I bet he's celebrated for a while, in and out of the bubble, knowing Jared.
I did a Zoom with him. Not a Zoom, but a FaceTime. He played with Lewis Hinnant, was on that team, and they're good friends and they stay close. Jared's really good about staying in touch with everybody. But it's funny, he said one of the best parts about the whole bubble was when they let them bring their children in there. And he's got an 8-year-old son named Juju, and the kid's working out, with the other players' sons, and LeBron's taking them for like 10 minutes and showing them some things, and the assistant coach for the Lakers is putting them through drills. For an 8-9-year-old kid, he said his son didn't want to leave the bubble.
Yeah, well,
we're not going home.
I don't blame him. All right, well, listen, we are at 8:30. So we're going to wrap now, but I want to thank obviously all of you guys for taking your time. I know it's been a crazy stretch here lately, and every year, and I mean it, every year I say the same thing. It probably sounds like a broken record, but all of you as high character human beings, as I've been around in this business. I mean it. I say it over and over. Look at Joe's son there. How old? What'd you say, 4?
How old are you?
How old are you?
Say how old are you? How old are you?
How old are you?
No.
How old are you?
How old are you?
I'm 4.
You're 4. You're very cute. Very, very cute. I tried to get my daughter to ask a question tonight, but she was not in the mood. The teenage girl part of it too. Like it wasn't going to fly, so I didn't push her. But anyway, listen, thanks to everybody for jumping in, for you guys, for Joe Sullivan of the Globe, for helping out. He was great in terms of, and he's been great every single year keeping this thing going. Don't forget to help out, to donate, coachesversuscancer.org. Make sure you donate because, again, I know there's a lot going on in the world. And one of the huge things that I don't want to say has been forgotten, but certainly hasn't been as prominent lately is fighting cancer and making sure we have enough money to continue that fight. So, again, guys, good luck. Stay safe. Everybody, thanks for joining us. And we will do it again in person next year.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Good
Jeff.
job, Jeff. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, fellas.
guys.
Good luck. Stay healthy, everyone.
Good to see you, fellas.
Take care, guys.